All right, I just got done with my Rise of Skywalker review like 5 seconds ago, and now I'm jumping into the whole point why I just moved through all those Star Wars films. If you're new and you just clicked on this because you were like, "Oh, an Obi Wan review," yeah, this is an Obi Wan review. But in order to get to this point, I literally watched all the Star Wars films that are live action in order to get to this point. So you can check those out on my channel. So I could get to Obi Wan Kenobi, and I guess we can get started. I'm Mac from movieguy.com, and this is a review of the Disney Plus original Obi Wan Kenobi, episode 1. I'm only doing the first episode. I know people are doing episode 1 and 2. I like to break them up because sometimes like one episode might be stronger than another, and yeah. So, as I pointed out in my Rise of Skywalker, I have a Mandalorian shirt on. I'm gonna try to tilt the thing down here. I'm a blind film critic, so I have no idea if you guys can see this or not, but I did actually this time make sure that my Mandalorian shirt was on instead of my Falcon and the Winter Soldier shirt, which is what I thought it was. I thought that was my Mandalorian shirt last time, but then somebody was like, "Nah, dude, that's your Falcon and Winter Soldier shirt." And I was like, "Oh." So my Phantom Menace video has the wrong shirt on it, but I left it up because, you know what, if I worried about that kind of stuff all the time, my life would be in constant worry. It's just being blind, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to end up talking about audio description. As far as spoilers, I have to talk about some stuff, but I will try to avoid some major stuff. I didn't know anything about Obi-Wan Kenobi going into this, so I don't know how much you know about going into this. I have to talk about it a little bit. This is a review slash recap of episode 1. I can't just be like, it was good, and then end the video. Like, that, that doesn't really do anything. So what is Obi-Wan Kenobi? Well, for me, it feels like this was going to be one of those Star Wars stories like Rogue One or Solo, and then they were like, those didn't do well at the box office, so we're gonna turn this into a Disney Plus series. So now we've got a Disney Plus series, and yeah, once you make it through that massive opening that just assumes that nobody actually watched the prequel movies, which is also kind of hilarious, there's a very long intro to Obi-Wan Kenobi that recaps episodes 1, 2, and 3, because Obi-Wan Kenobi takes place between episode 3 and Solo in terms of the timeline. So if you're thinking about where to put this, if you ever try to have a massive Star Wars marathon, including all the TV shows, you would watch this immediately after Revenge of the Sith. There's a funny thing, because I kind of mentioned it in another review, where once again, this is kind of a spoiler, but I swear to God, it's the first scene in the thing, which can never really be a spoiler when the film opens with something. You know, I mean, if I tell you that the film opens with somebody's head exploding, and you're like, I didn't know that was going to happen. And it's like, but as soon as you started the film, it's the first thing that, like, the whole film is based around this head explosion. Is it really a spoiler? I don't know, because you can't avoid it. So like the first scene in the film is another child Jedi attack, like where, you know, yet again, we can't protect Jedi children. And I'm like, okay, so this is the third time that we've used this trope. Can we not? It's getting really old. It's getting really, like, repetitive to keep going through this over and over, to see child Jedi attacked, the Jedi children, or whatever you want to call them, Jedi in training. It's kind of pointless. I guess maybe there will be some point to it later on, because then we immediately get that 10 years later thing, and we find that Obi-Wan has taken up residence on Tatooine, just like we find him in A New Hope. He's there because he's there to protect Luke, who is growing up, you know, on that farm. Uncle doesn't really want him there. He's not really welcome, but Obi-Wan is like, no, I promised. He didn't really promise anybody. He just chose to be there. Like, nobody asked him. And it's kind of weird because there were two kids and he just chose that one to watch. So he's just there and he's pretending to not be a Jedi, which is good because there are these Inquisitors that are hunting Jedi and killing them. That's their sole goal in life. It's not fully understood that they are like Vader's people at this point, and they're not with Vader. So they're just out there hunting Jedi. Because supposedly Jedi always have to do good deeds, so they're just tracking down anybody who does a random act of kindness and killing them. It's just kind of funny when you think about it, and kind of sad, but like that's how they find Jedi. They're like, I heard there was an act of heroism here the other day. We have come for it. There will be no heroes. So that's their master plan. It's not like they can sense the Force. They just know that Jedis for some reason always have to help people. So Obi-Wan has to like resist helping people. That's the thing. Which leads to the subplot, which is the other thing, which I'm going to try to explain without spoiling it. There was another character that was also in the original trilogy. It was a friend, an acquaintance of Obi-Wan's. And they're trying to do their thing on another planet and keep the people they love safe. But unfortunately, one of the people that they love ends up being abducted along with their robot droid thing. So he does the help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. You've got a particular set of skills that you've accumulated over a long career. And Obi-Wan's like, I can't leave Luke. And he's like, what are you talking about? Of course you can, and this is just as important. So Obi-Wan's very conflicted, and by the end of the episode, you will know whether or not Obi-Wan is going to use this particular set of skills, or whether or not he's just going to continue to stare at Luke from afar. Because definitely the latter of the two makes for a very interesting series. So I think you can probably figure out where the series has headed, but I promise not to spoil it. So that's basically Obi-Wan episode 1 in a nutshell. I thought it was good. I actually kind of liked what they were doing with it. I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. I can see why this story fits here. Didn't feel like they pulled something out of their hat. It felt like this story would have been, if we hadn't numbered New Hope at episode 4, I felt like we could have squeezed this in there as like another Star Wars episode, something like this could be like Star Wars episode 3.5, but yeah, because it feels like that kind of a thing that could be if it had been taken that seriously. So it does follow that natural progression, sort of like Rogue One did. Solo was just more of its own thing. It was just like, this is what Han Solo did before anybody knew him. Cool. But this one feels more like akin to and in line with the story of the Star Wars films. So far, after the first episode, as far as the audio description, I thought the audio description was solid. We got proper introductions, I would say. Like when we creep up on Obi-Wan right away, he's like shrouded or whatever, so it doesn't immediately say Obi-Wan until he like pulls back his hood, and then we get the reveal that it's Obi-Wan. But even then we get sort of a description of what he looks like. And I'm kind of thinking, like, did they de-age him? Because technically he's older than the time jump that they wanted for this film. If Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005, this is 2022. Now, let's say they shot this last year, so 2021. That's still 16 years worth of aging when he's only supposed to have done 10. So I don't really know whether or not he looks only 10 years older. I don't know what the aging process is there or not. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The people that can see will know whether or not he actually looks appropriate or whether or not... I don't know how old Ewan McGregor looks anymore. So, lost that ability. But he's not described as being ancient yet, so he's not quite at the level of, New Hope age. So I don't know how he's going to get there, but quickly, I guess. He'll just age rapidly at some point to get to Alec Guinness. But yeah, we get good descriptions of the new Inquisitors because they all have their own look, their own vibe. That's basically, they're sort of like the DreamWorks Trolls, where they don't actually have distinguishable personalities. They sort of just look different. And that's how they are seen, is how they look. There's just one that's like slightly angrier and more obsessed with Obi Wan, and that's her personality trait. And then there's one that's more angry about her being obsessed with Obi Wan. So, I don't know if those are real personality traits. We haven't learned enough about them. I can't even remember their names. They're just all interchangeable at this point. I don't know whether or not they're important enough to remember their names is part of the problem. So, because I don't know if they're just immediately all going to get killed off in the next episode, and then it's like, well, that was pointless. Or if they're major characters, who knows? But yeah, we get a good description of that and some of the little alien races and just a couple of little things throughout the thing. There's a new droid that's introduced that has like mouse ears. It's described as, sounds new. It sounds like a droid we haven't seen before. So, and it's tiny. So we got a nice little description of that. I'm pleased so far with the description. And it narrates and tells us who everybody is, which is good. Easy to follow, solid narrator. So thumbs up on the first episode of Obi Wan. I'm digging it. I'm actually more invested in Obi Wan off the bat than I was in Boba Fett. So Boba Fett really needed actually the Mandalorian to be injected into it to become interesting. So yeah. As far as episode 1 of Obi-Wan goes, I don't think it's the Mandalorian, but I think it has potential. I think there's a lot of potential here, and I see it. I see the story that they've set forth, and I'm very optimistic. So I'm going to give Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 1 an A-. I feel like if this was the first Star Wars series I'd seen, I might have given it an A. But because I've seen The Mandalorian do such amazing things, and this one is a lot of setup, I feel like by episode 2, I'll be giving this series an A, unless the series slows down. But the setup is great. And I fully anticipate, if they go in the right direction, to be giving this show an A. Probably finishing out by the end of the season with an A. But it does kind of lack a little bit of action in the first episode. So this is a lot of setup. You just have to be ready for that. So that's my review of Obi-Wan episode 1. All the build up to this moment. Anyway, please throw me a like and a subscribe and stick with me as I continue to review Obi-Wan episodes. Let me know what you think in the comments. If nobody watches these Obi-Wan reviews, then I'm probably not going to review all 6 episodes. But if we keep watching them, then yeah, of course, I'll keep doing this. We'll see. And I will see you then in episode 2, which is actually already out, so I should be reviewing it shortly. Until then,